So, in preparation for this evening, the thought came to my mind because Kapila is a very dear friend of mine, and he's been encouraging me. He's been encouraging me on this path to understand what it is to be devotional, how to open up the heart. And he shared with me a mantra which we will chant today, which is asking for the blessings of a very important personality, who is Lord Hanumān. Okay? How many of you know who Lord Hanumān is? For those of you who don't know, how many of you have ever heard of the epic, the Rāmāyaṇa? Rāmāyaṇa? Who hasn't heard it? Please put your hand up. Okay. So if you've never heard of the Rāmāyaṇa, let me please quickly explain to you, then everything will start to make a little bit of sense. Okay? So, the Lord, or the Supreme Personality of Godhead, has various names and various forms. And there are 4 ages. How many ages? 4 ages, right? And in each age, He appears to help us, those who are searching for this feeling of fulfillment, happiness, no anxiety. He understands the nature of our heart because we are a part of Him. And so, He appears as a great king, as the greatest king of all time. And His name in that appearance is Lord Rāma. Right? He appears in the dynasty of the sun god. Right? That's the lineage in which He appears. And He was known for being the greatest king because He didn't just sit on a throne. Right? He was known as the greatest king because no matter who you were in His kingdom, you were treated equally with love and respect. If you were His advisor, He'd give you the same love as respect as He would someone who is a beggar, not even a beggar, there were no beggars. Anyone, a merchant, anybody, they had the same love, they had the same love and respect from Him, the same kind of care. He is also known to be the most ideal husband. For those of us men here, if we ever want to be the perfect, or at least try and embody what it is to be a good husband, Lord Ramachandra's life was completely a perfection of that. Everything about it. And so, the long and short of that very long story, so forgive me, this is the first time you're hearing it, but we can always talk about it another time. But the long and short of it is, Lord Ramachandra was sent into exile. Back then, the king, his father's name was Dasharatha, right? And his father had a few wives. And one of the wives wanted their son to be the king. And so, somehow she won the favor of the king. And when the time came, she asked for the favor. And the favor was that, or the boon was that, he must send Ram, who was the king's most beloved son, into the forest. And this was at the time when he was going to become set as the king of Ayodhya. The place is called Ayodhya, right? And Lord Ramachandra took this as and normally, as you can relate to this, right? We know sometimes for those of us who are working, we may be punting for a promotion. If we're running a business, we're looking to go to the next level. If we're studying, we want to be first of class. And we put a lot of effort and trouble into those things. But it really feels quite uncomfortable when we don't get it, isn't it? Right? When we don't get that promotion, when we don't get that upliftment to the next stage. I know personally I've experienced where you feel a little resentment, like why did I not get it? I've earned my credit. Right? And so Lord Ram did not react that way. Actually, Lord Ram took it as the greatest blessing. And so he leaves with his wife and his brother into the forest for a 14-year period. And in the time that he had been away in the forest, they were living completely, imagine coming from a royal family. You have all the comforts, right? You have, you have a whole kingdom. You have every comfort in the world. And he relinquished all of those things and was living in the forest to fulfill the promise of his father. Okay? Very honorable son. He took on the responsibility because that's how much of love was shared between the father and the son. Whatever the father's instruction was, he followed it to the T. And so, what happens is, his wife, or consort, her name is Sita Devi, like we have our very own Sita here today. But Sita is probably given the name because she's a servant to Sita Devi. And Sita is known for being the most beautiful personality of all time. She was the most beautiful, the most enchanting, everything about her. She had all of the best qualities a woman may ever desire. Right? She was the most chaste of all women, most beautiful of all women. And so, whilst Lord Rāma was in the forest, there was a not so nice guy whose name is Ravan. And Ravan comes from a place called Lanka. Are you all with me? I know it's a Friday afternoon, so I don't want you to fall asleep just as yet. Are you also here?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So Ravan, we'll call him the bad guy, right? Why he's the bad guy is because there's parts of us which can relate to his feeling and his emotion. And this is the whole point of the story today. Ravan was also a very powerful person, extremely good-looking man. He ruled over a great kingdom as well. But he was different to Ram in the sense that Lord Rāma was doing everything to please his father and to please the Supreme, right? In all his actions. But Ravan, he was doing everything for his own pleasure. So he made his kingdom of gold because he wanted the most opulent kingdom. He had thousands of wives so he could enjoy himself. He had the most beautiful of gardens, but everything was focused on his own pleasure. Right? And so, he had this thing. He always wanted to be the best. He wanted to be the most powerful. So he did whatever was required to train to become that most powerful person. He wanted to have the most beautiful wife. And he had the most beautiful wife. And he was ruling, the best he could. But he became agitated. Because someone once said to him, actually, Ravan, you've not heard of Sita. And actually, she is the most beautiful. She is the most chaste. And so you don't have that. Right? Now imagine telling someone, like in the world we live in, right? You go to any person who has great success. The point of the story is for you to relate to it. Right? I'm sure we come across people who are very ambitious. We are all ambitious people, aren't we? We all want something more. We're all searching to be the best. Right? Ravan also was doing the same thing. It's just his intention. His intention was different to that of Ram's. Okay? And so, without going into too much detail, Ravan set out to go and win Sita. Because, he was also a warrior. And he made this big plan that he's going to get her because he wants her. Right? Like what we would do. You may be feeling like if I'm a junior manager, I want to be a senior manager. Right? And then you hear there's this opportunity as a senior manager to be somewhere. And what happens? Immediately your mind goes, right, I'm going to work the plan to get there. Correct? Do we all do that? Yes? Yeah. Right? That's a natural thing. And there's nothing wrong with that. But how we're engaging ourselves is so important. Because here's what happens. Right? He had everything. He went out and he tried to kidnap Sita. And Ravan had many demons, many like powerful people as well, but they were trained in different arts. So they were very much manipulative by their nature. At that time, they could change their body from being how I'm looking now into an animal, and then convert back. Right? They had these mystical powers. And so Ravan sent out these different agents to distract Ram, so he could go and capture Sita. Right? But today, even though it'll be more pleasing to Lord Hanumān to speak about the glories of Lord Ram, we are talking about Lord Hanumān today. And he is a key feature in the story, because what happens is Sita Devi gets taken away to Lanka, to Ravan's palace. She gets kidnapped from Ram's care. And Ram becomes completely and utterly miserable. He cannot live without Sita. His heart was broken. Imagine losing the love of your life. It's a painful thing, right? It's really painful. I know I lost my father at a very young age. And until you lose someone you love, you don't really know how much you love them. And so Ram was feeling this such deep pain that he just, he tried hunting and, to all parts, all angles, all sides. He just couldn't find her. And he just became completely drained. And he was with his brother Lakshman. And why Lord Hanumān is such an important part of the story is because he is the person that helped Ram connect back with Sita Devi. Would you like to know more about the story? Right? I'm not getting anything here. Should we just chant? Okay, so let me make it very simple. Lord Hanumān is known to be the greatest devotee. We are practicing chanting because he was the greatest chanter. But what was he chanting? He was chanting the names of Lord Rāma. Right? From a very young age, there are many things about the life of Lord Hanumān that we can learn. Lord Hanumān was a monk in the body of a monkey. Right? And so, yet he had, at that time, they were called the Varna race. Right? And they were like part human, part monkey. Right? They were extremely intelligent, physical presence. They were a force to reckon with. And so he was a special being because he was empowered by the demigods, like Lord Shiva, like Lord Brahma. He was empowered with some special capabilities. And so in his mood and in his love for Lord Ram, he teaches us some key lessons, which I would like to share with you. But before we discuss that, maybe we should do some chanting, so I can keep you with me. All right? There's a mantra which I was saying to you that Cap had taught me, which is going to be put up before us here, which is to ask for the blessings of Lord Hanumān. Okay? So if this is the first time chanting, maybe what we'll do is we'll say each word together, and then we'll try chanting collectively. This is a call and response. So I will first lead, and then you will chant. Okay? Jai Śrī Hanumān. So, this mantra has a very powerful potency. It invokes the blessings of Lord Hanumān. But why are these blessings so important? Right? Why do we feel this upliftment? Because we are impure and he is pure. From him purity is coming. By chanting the names of someone who is pure, it purifies our soul. And so, there's a few things Lord Hanumān, through his life, had exhibited for us to learn. And I'll just touch on a few things, and then we'll chant again. The one thing we all battle with is the mind, right? And Lord Hanumān also, as a little child, had to learn how to control something. But for him, it wasn't really his mind. You see, he was a monkey, and so he had a tail, right? And so he didn't know he had a tail until his tail started to do things. Like when you're a child, you don't know you have a mind until your mind starts to do things, right? So, like we didn't know we had a mind when we were 2 years old, right? But, so Lord Hanumān, as he was growing up, he was playing with his friends, and they could do amazing things with their tails. They would send their tail up, all the way up to a tree, pick a fruit, the juiciest fruit, and they would share. But Hanumān he was the smaller one amongst all his friends. And he didn't know about these capabilities yet, right? And so when his tail started to move, he realized, oh, mine can also do that, right? And so there's a very simple lesson from that. At first, his tail, because he couldn't control it, it would just be absolutely destructive, right? He would try to go and grab something, and he would smack his friend with his tail. Can you imagine that? You're just trying to do something, all of a sudden, the opposite happens, right? He had a good intention, but it didn't work out. He'd try and get a glass to give his mother some milk, but instead of going to get the glass, he'd spill all the milk all over the floor, right? Good intention, just couldn't get it right. Same thing with our minds. It all starts off with a good plan, right? So what do you think he did? He didn't know how to figure this thing out. And what he did was, he went to those very same friends, like we have next to us. He went to someone who knew how. And he said, please tell me, how do you make this thing work? It's just doing its own thing, And so they taught him, they trained him. So the lesson in life is that, there are many things we think we have a good intention, but we have to take the shelter of someone, a friend of ours who knows a little bit more, to help us. And so what he did with his tail was, instead of making it destructive, he made it completely devoted. He devoted his tail in service to his friends, in service to his parents, in service to his community. Like that, we need to apply the same principle to our mind. We have to learn to train it. Because it all starts with a good intention. But sometimes it just goes on its own tangent, and it causes a lot of destruction. Right? So that's one very important lesson he teaches us from his childhood. Right? So once he learned how to control his tail, he did some other miraculous things which we can also learn from. Right? There's a very beautiful exchange which occurs. Like I was saying, Lord Rāma was in distress and he was trying to get his wife back, Sita Devi. Right? And so what happened was, they had been searching all around India and they couldn't find her anywhere. And they thought, okay, they came to the ocean. And then they thought, you know what? Maybe she's there, across the ocean. And by this time, there's a whole army of friends that have come together. You know, like, when someone's looking for something, you call one person, and, everyone gets together, right? And we all start a little hunt. So the same thing was happening, but in a very serious way, right? And so they came to the shores, 800-mile distance between this part of the land and the land across. How they are animals, how are they going to get across the ocean? Right? But Lord Hanumān, he was blessed with many gifts. Like we all have many gifts. Some of us may sing better than another. Some of us may, be exemplary in maths, accounting, yoga. We all have our own talents, correct? So also Lord Hanumān had some very special talents compared to his friends. But along the way in his journey, he was so bold and so dynamic that he did some things, heroic things, which, part of doing that heroic feat, he had to surrender his power as a bargain. But that's another whole story. That's all about his love for his mother. But in essence, he surrendered his power, all these blessings he had, to get his mother back. And so as he grew up, he completely forgot about it. How many of us were amazing at things as kids, and then now, like I could do great cartwheels. Ask me now, oh my God. But right, we all could do those things, isn't it? We have gifts within us. We have something very special. Each and every one of us has something very special. And it's unique to us. So like this, Lord Hanumān was at the shore. And they were trying to get across. And none of them could do it. None of them could figure it out. Until one of his friends said, "Hey Hanumān, hold on. You've got the power to expand. You've got the power to jump. You can fly." His father was partly the wind god. So he had all these powers. He was the strongest. He was the boldest. He could fly. He could swim. He could do all of these things. But he forgot about it. But he took his friends, all of his friends, to remind him how special he is and how much of power he really has. And after all of them came together and said this, then he was like, oh yeah, I can do that. So this is how important it is for us to surround the right people around us, to help us also remember what we are good at and how we can engage ourselves. So, poof, he jumped and he crossed the ocean. Right? But first he tried. He went, okay, I'm going to do this. And he ran and he went to jump. And he jumps, but nothing happened. He was like, you see, I told you, I don't have the power anymore, it's gone. So they said, no, try again. So he went running again, and he went like that to fly. And still nothing happened. Now, how embarrassing, right? Your friends are telling you, you can do this. You go, yeah, I can do it. And then you go running, and you just stand. So he said, I can't do this. And they said, no, do it like you always did. Lord Hanumān is known from the time he entered into this world to constantly be saying the names of Ram. Throughout his life, he constantly chanted his name Ram, 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 Ram. Everything he did, he was singing the name, chanting the name Ram, 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 Ram. So he said, like that. And then he started to sing, and so much of love came out of him. Before he could hit the first second, he was already in the sky flying. So what's the lesson for us? To unlock our most beautiful capability in this life, what do we have to do? We have to chant the names of the Lord. He is the one that empowers. He is the one that brings out the best in you, in all of us. So, let's chant again. Right? So now we're going to chant what Lord Hanumān chants. And that is the glories of Śrī Rāma. Okay? Are you having a good time so far? The first times? You sure?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, it is said that when you chant the names of Lord Rāma, he is the reservoir of
Pleasure. Pleasure.
How many people want pleasure in this room? Please raise your hand. So we all want pleasure, right? So if he is the reservoir of pleasure, what do you think you need to do to make this personality happy? What?
Chant his name
But how?
with love.
Right? He gets it. He gets it. So you're going to have to lead by example, right? Lord Rāma is very merciful. And so as we chant, please, you can chant loud, soft, whatever it is, but the most important thing is
Love.
Love.
love. Right? Okay. like this, Lord Hanumān would be chanting the names of Lord Rāma constantly. And so he achieved such greatness in his life. And so, why I was saying he is actually the hero of the story, Lord Hanumān, is because he brings the most pleasure to everybody. He brings the most pleasure to his friends. When they were in trouble, they knew they could call Hanumān, and there was no one stronger than him. Right? There was a little boxing match, they'll call Hanumān, all's done. You know, if the parents needed something, Hanumān, we need something on top of it. You know, he was the person that would help. But most importantly, you know, as he became older and his love became single-pointed, actually it always was, but it became more fixed. It was single-pointed love. His love was completely for Lord Rāma and pleasing Lord Rāma. And what could be more pleasing to Lord Rāma than to bring back his beloved, right? So he was able to go and see Sita Devi in Lanka while she was held captive by Ravana. And he made her so happy. She was so ecstatic. Imagine you are locked up somewhere, being bombarded by baboons and like all these different, I say baboons, but actually they were demons, demoniac people, you know? Imagine being in an environment like that and you constantly being harassed. And then from out of nowhere, this person arrives, you know? And he was the messenger of Lord Rāma. She was so ecstatic. But they were very smart, you know? They knew Sita Devi is not going to be, she's also a very intelligent, most intelligent woman. She wasn't going to be fooled by anything. So there was a little exchange for her to prove that he was the servant of Lord Rāma. And he brought great happiness to her heart. She knew that her suffering is soon coming to an end. The fact that Lord Rāma has sent one of his soldiers, soon this is coming to an end. Right? But there's a very funny thing. Lord Hanumān is a very funny character. He's a very funny guy. You know, following this path of self-realization, following Bhakti Yoga is not just a serious thing. And Lord Hanumān gave us so many examples of this. Right? So coming back to his tale, he was also gifted by the fire god. That fire could not trouble him. Right? So they catch him when he went to go and see Sita Devi, they catch him, all the guards catch him. But he allows himself to get caught. Just to humiliate Ravana. Just to humiliate him. You know, to show him, you can't really do anything to me. What to speak of Ram? Right? You can't defeat me. How are you going to defeat Ram? Right? Then he was like teasing Ravana like this when they hold him captive. There was like all these big guards around Hanumān and they tied him up like this. He couldn't move. You know, nothing could happen. And they thought, yes, we got him. We've got him. You know, and we're going to kill him. Right? What you do when someone, you know, is an imposter in your garden? You kill you. Well, then they would. But you don't need. Well, I wouldn't say that's what happens in South Africa. That's not good. It's a very safe country. Oh man, I walked straight into that. But so they were trying to, you know, make a fool of him, and they were gonna. Ravana was saying to his guards, "Kill him, kill the monkey." You know, to kind of set a message out to the world. I've killed Hanumān. Hanumān was famous throughout the world for heavenly planets, earthly planets. Everyone knew who Hanumān was. He conquered demigods. He conquered everybody. That's what a great personality Hanumān was. So if Ravana could kill him, what a message he's sending to Ram, right? But then, once again, one of Ravana's brothers say to him, actually, Ravana, if you kill Hanumān, if you're going to kill him, actually you're going to bring a lot of kind of, you know, you're going to lose your sense of, you're going to lose your fame, because you can't kill a messenger. There's a code. As a warrior, there's a code. You don't kill a messenger, right? For those of you who watch movies, right, you always see that in any form of war, there's always a messenger to go and bargain. Like, can we settle or not, right? They never kill that guy. So they were saying to Hanumān, they were saying to Ravana, you can't kill him, he's just a messenger, right? So they said, if we can't kill him, then we will humiliate him. We will show this monkey for coming in here. So they brought a torch. They didn't have like LED lights or anything. They had torches everywhere, big flames. So they brought a torch and they set his tail alight. Right? And they thought, yes, we've got him. So Hanumān, as I said to you, he had the ability to go small and big. But they don't know this, right? They thought they had him. So he went shoop. He went smaller and he came out of the grip. Right? And he had such a blast. Because now he's a monkey, right? He was bouncing and jumping everywhere, setting the whole kingdom alight. And so Sita Devi saw this, sitting in the garden watching Hanumān burning. And she said a prayer. Please, my Lord, don't let him feel that pain. Initially he felt it a little bit. But her blessings and her mercy made it like a cooling balm. And so Hanumān set the whole thing alight. So what do we learn from this? Even when our mind is going crazy, sometimes like it's on fire. I know it happens to me often. I'm in sales. So it feels like it's always on fire. But you know, when you take shelter of the mercy of the names of the Lord, it has that cooling effect. It's there. You can't get rid of it. But it has a cooling effect. And like Hanumān, our pride needs to not be so big. Our egos not be so big. If we just make it small, if we just think of ourselves in a little more humble way, we'll come out of anything. Right? We'll come out of anything. We just need to remember to be humble. So the long and short of the story is that, of course, Ravan gets killed. Right? I had so many other things to share with you, but we don't have enough time. So what happened was, this whole pastime takes place. Ram conquers Ravana. He brings back Sita Devi to Ayodhya, and they rule the kingdom once they return. But then the Lord doesn't reside on the material plane. He comes here to inspire us, to remember that we belong in a better place. So he left. He left. Ram and Sita, they leave. They go back to the spiritual world. Right? Now can you imagine? Once again, Hanumān he's losing the love of his life. Right? He waited his whole life to find Ram. Then he finds Ram, and not so long after Ram is going, he's gone. I remember what it was like when I heard my father passed away. I lost it. So, and I don't even really understand what love is. Lord Hanumān, he loved completely. He loved with purity. And he lost all composure. And his friends, once again, were trying to calm him down. See how important friends are? Friends are really important. These friends they were really feeling like, Hanumān, it's going to be okay, it's going to be okay. And they tried everything to calm Hanumān down, but nothing would work. Nothing would work. And then they said to him, Hanumān, you know what? Ram and Sita are in your heart. Okay? They're in your heart. Just take it easy. And Hanumān, being so strong, he said, what? They're in my heart? What did he do? Tore open his chest. He tore open his chest. And when he tore it open, the Lord reciprocated with his pure love. And there they were, sitting in his heart. There they were. And then he became pacified. Now we are not like Hanumān. We can't tear our chest open. Right? We don't have his blessings. We don't have his strength. But once again, the point of the whole story is that the Lord resides within us. The purity resides within us. Lord Hanumān tore his chest open so we don't have to. Right? But we have to understand that the Lord is right there. The love is right there. The purity, the blessings, everything is right there. And so, like that, he still continues his life chanting the names of Ram. And that's all he wants. That's all his desire is, to be of service and pleasure to Lord Rama. Like that, whatever we do in our lives, he taught this. The Hanumān teaches this to all his friends. Anyone that came in his path, he taught them to chant the name of Lord Rama and to do everything thinking of him. So likewise, if we can try this, see how you go. Life's not going to be easy. Remember, the mind's going to be on fire. But when you take shelter of the name, what does it have? It has a cooling effect. But in this age, we battle to even chant that. So there's a mantra which the Lord gives us, which is the mahā-mantra, which we will chant to finish tonight. And this mahā-mantra is the king of all mantras. It is most pleasing to Lord Hanumān, it is most pleasing to everybody. When we chant this holy name, it is full with all things, all potency of the Lord. Everything attractive, everything beautiful comes into your life. All is one thing that's required. There's only one thing to pay for it. Love is not what you have to pay. It's faith. You taste as much as you give into it. Like anything, what you put is what you get. So if you chant with more faith, you will feel more. Okay? So we'll do the final chant for this evening. And then, how much time have we got? 5 minutes?
You can go on for a bit on this one.
Like 10? How many of you have to leave in 5? 10 minutes? 15? How many would you like?
15.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,